Hi everyone, we are live. I'm just waiting just for 1:30, just for people, just to give them chance just to come in and join us. Okay, everybody. Hi there, my name's Louise. For those that don't know me, so we're going to be doing a gentle session today. We're going to be starting to get the body just to free off a little bit. So during this time of lockdown, which we're having, for some of you, you are able to go outside and to exercise. And for a lot of people, the people that have inspired me to do this class, this session, my ladies group, my mature ladies group, I know that there's a lot of them that are not able to actually get outside the house. So we're generally kind of like, if we're in the house, we're going to be sat, and we're going to be sat in particular ways. So the body is only going to move in particular ranges. So if you sat on a chair, the legs are going to be in that position, and if you stood upright, then that's fine. But generally, even if you're walking up the stairs, your body's going to be moving in a particular way. So we want to be able to kind of explore where the body can go and just to start to free it off a little bit. Okay, so if you want to join me, if you have a yoga mat, then that's great. Have your yoga mat. If you don't, just the floor is going to be fine. Just clear kind of your little bit of space just on the floor. Mine's there just so you can kind of you can see where I am, and there's a marker for where I can stand. Now, talking about the chairs, we are going to just start off with a chair just to begin with, just to help us lengthen up a little bit through the spine. So I have one chair here, and I'm going to get you just to bring yourself onto that chair. So just onto the front edge of your chair. So I'll just give you a few moments just to allow yourself to settle. So we can just, you're sat right on that front edge. So if I show you even at the side, I would be sat just on the edge of it. So I'm not resting right onto the back of the chair. So I'm right on my front edge, my feet are about hip distance apart and firmly just planted down. I'm just going to roll the shoulders back and just let the hands just rest onto the knees. Dip the chin slightly, just closing the eyes. And just take a moment here. So a moment just to tune in, just with how you feel. And a moment just to tune into the breathing. So the breath is going to be a good indicator of how you feel. So just watching, just observing the breath. Just being aware of the gentle rise and fall of the breath. And whether the breathing feels smooth or whether it feels rigid, bumpy. So just taking note, just being aware. And just picking up on any obvious areas of tension. We're holding that maybe just around the jaw or the shoulders up here. Just kind of take that time just to assess. Again, just to take notes. Just being aware how you actually feel. Really just allowing yourself just to commit to that breath. So once we feel that we're able just to tune in just with the body, twinning it with the breath, clearing a little bit of space in the head, and just bringing the palms together. So just a light touch of the palms pressing together. Again, just notice the space from shoulder to shoulder. Again, noticing the breathing. And time now just to set your intention for your practice. So your intention could be to spend the whole of this time just solely for yourself. To clear headspace. Just to tap in just to how you really feel. So time out just for you. And then bringing the thumbs up just to the space between the eyes. Just to reaffirm that intention. And then taking the hands up over the crown. So your intention is then out there. And draw the hands down towards the heart center, Anahata chakra, center for love and compassion. And releasing the hands down to the knees. Just let them rest there. Just let the elbows hang down from the shoulders. Chest nice and open. Heart center just moving forward and lifting. Again, just being aware of that breath. Again, noticing the quality of your breathing. And are we able to extend that breath? So maybe inhaling for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slight pause. And then exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slight pause. Inhale again, this time for 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slight pause. Exhale for 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slight pause. Inhale for 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slight pause. Exhale for 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slight pause. And then just work one more round just to your own breathing. And after the pause on the exhalation, softly blink the eyes open. Now I'm going to start just to begin at the small of the back. So getting the small of the back to move. Now when we're sat on the front edge of the chair, hopefully we're sat a little bit more up on the sitting bones. So that's going to help to extend the spine. I'm going to turn just to the side for a moment, just so we can show you. So we're going to keep this part of the body fairly still. So all we're going to do is just rock back slightly, so as if you're trying to push the bottom back onto the chair. And then rock forward. So when you rock forward, it'll arch the back into the small of the back face. And then again, so just rolling back to the back edge of your sitting bones. And then rolling forward. And then back. And then forward. So we just start to get a little bit of movement happening just right into the small of the back. You can maybe inhale as we come forward and exhale as you move back. And again, inhale, moving forward and exhale, moving back. And once the small of the back starts to move, then we can start to bring in the rest of the spine. So we inhale as we move forward, really over-exaggerate the movement, and then exhale as we come back. Inhale, moving forward, and exhale, moving back. Now when we inhale and we come forward, chest is moving forward, the bottom will stick back, and then as we exhale and we pull back, we're looking down towards the navel. So we see the pelvis tilting. And then again, we can start to come through. So inhaling, moving forward, and exhaling, moving back. Inhaling, moving forward, and exhaling, moving back. Now just working one more, just in your own time. And just as you're doing that, I'm just going to move back around again just to where we started. And then once we come back to upright, and we're going to do the same movement, but this time just starting to bring the shoulders in. So as we come forward, we move the shoulders back. And as we come back, really over-exaggerate that movement, rolling the arms in. So we inhale, we come forward, and taking the elbows back, and exhale as we internally rotate the tops of the shoulders and the arms, so the outside of the arms, the hands are facing each other. So we inhale, coming through, exhale, coming back. So again, really over-exaggerate the movement. So working a few now, just in your own time. And if you don't feel as if you can come forward very far, don't worry about it too much at this time. Just exploring where the body can go, exploring just how it feels. When we're in the house all the time, we can end up spending a little bit too much time maybe sitting down, slouching down. So just kind of feel as if you're uncurling out of any of those movements. I'm going to start to bring the arms into this a little bit more. So we can bring the hands away from the legs, but just bringing the backs of the hands together, and then slowly start to open up as you bring your chest forward. So we're easing back and uncurling and moving forward. Now, if you notice my arms aren't fully straight, and that's fine, we're just going to keep a little bit of a bend and just explore, keep the movements nice and smooth. So roll the shoulders right in as you're curling back, and then lift and open up, and taking the arms back as you go back again. So we're inhaling, moving forward, arms are going back, and exhaling, pulling the spine back, and the arms are rolling in. So just one more, and then back in, and we're coming back to upright. Okay, so just do a little roll out with the shoulders. Now notice even when you're moving the shoulders, whether the head is moving forward. Aim to keep the head just where it is. So I want to feel as if we're bringing those shoulders right up towards the ears, as opposed to the ears coming down towards the shoulders. Okay, so just one more. Leave the arms rolled back, the hands just rest again, just onto the legs. Again, we're opening up in the chest, and the shoulders are slightly back, elbows are back. So now just for the head. So we're just going to bring the head and the chin, tuck it right in towards the chest. Feel a lovely stretch on the back of the neck. Slowly start to lift the head and lifting the chin, looking up towards the ceiling. We don't have to go back too far again, just explore and then bring it back to where we started. So then again, just bringing the head down. So keep the movements nice and comfortable. Slowly start to lift the head. And all we're doing is just edging away at what we feel is our edge. So when we find the edge of that movement, all we're doing is giving it a tiny little nudge, if that feels comfortable to do so. So just once more, just looking with the head up towards the ceiling. And then bring it back so we're looking straight ahead. Keep the shoulders exactly where they are. We're turning the head. Now, if you're watching me face on, I'm just going to mirror image. So we're just going to take the head just over and looking over to the right side. Make sure that left shoulder stays back. And then back to the center. Over now to the left side. And back to the center. Once more over to the right. And back to the center. And then over to the left. And back to the center. Okay, this time just take it round to the right side. Only go as far as just in front of the shoulder. Then we're going to take the head down as if looking down towards the armpit. Take the right hand on top of the head and just let that hand rest. Now with your left hand, just let that arm just ease out to the sides like it did earlier on. So it's rolling in and rolling out. So rolling in and rolling out. Again, keep the movements nice and soft. And you may feel as you're taking the arm and just exploring where it goes of rolling it in, rolling it out. You may feel a gentle stretch just along the side of the neck. So we'll get right into some muscles along the side here, some scalene muscles. And scalene muscles attached to the first and second ribs. So they're quite important for, if they get tight, they're going to affect our breathing in some way. So we just want to kind of keep going into it. You maybe find you'll hit some nice juicy bits where you feel, ooh. We just go through them and then just back again, keeping a nice flowing movement. And then just bring the arm down, back onto the leg. We're going to take the hand underneath onto the cheek and just lift the head up, bringing it back up and back to the center. Okay, let the head just bobble around. And then over to the other side. So turning the head to the left, just in front of the shoulder. Let the head come down. So as if looking down towards the armpit. Bring that left hand up on top of the head. Just let the arm just relax there. It's not pulling down, it's just relaxing. And now with the right arm, again, we're just rolling that arm just in and out. Explore where you can go. It might feel quite different, one arm to the other arm, and it may feel very different in the side of the neck. And you can always just close your eyes, see how that feels. If you start to feel a little bit dizzy or a little bit sick, then just obviously open your eyes. You may find there's more range of movement on that side or less. Just simply observe. We roll the shoulder in, we roll the shoulder out. And just one more. And then leave the hand just resting onto the leg. Take the hand underneath onto the cheek and just push to come back up again and bring the head back into the center. Just let the head just bobble around. Okay. Bring the hands just to the top part of the chest. We're just going to gently press the hands into the skin, just pushing down slightly. The chest is lifting up towards the hands. And then bringing the chin as if drawing a line, looking up towards the ceiling. And then bringing the head back down again. So this time we take the head up, and then once we're up to what we feel is our maximum, we bring the bottom lip over the top lip. So just slowly moving up. And we take the bottom lip over the top. And then we release as we come back down. And let the hands just relax. You may feel like you get a nice longer stretch through the neck when you start to bring that bottom lip up. You just got to remember to kind of release that when you bring your head back down again. Okay, so we're just going to start now just to come up to standing. So pressing down, use the thighs to come right up. We can just move that chair out of the way for now. Okay, I'll move those back. We don't need those quite just now. Right, so now with the legs. So we're just going to make sure your feet are firmly planted down onto the floor. So what I mean by that is spread the toes out, lift your toes up, and then place them down just one at a time just onto the mat. And again, lift them up and placing the toes down just one at a time down onto the mat. Slowly start to rock forwards and back. So feel the weight move back to the heels and then move over onto the toes. So moving back to the heels and then over onto the toes. And then find when we get that spot in the center. Then start to transfer the weight. So going right to left and right to left. We can over-exaggerate that, going a little bit further. So we feel the weight. We're not going too fast that way. We're not aware of our movements. We're just easing over. So we feel the floor underneath the foot. We feel which part of the foot is pressing down. And then we come back to the center. We find that balance. We can start then just to bend the knees, a little dip into the knees. We can maybe go a little bit further. Now as we bend down, so we can come down a little bit further, feel as if you're pulling nice strong tights up, coming all the way up to firm up in the legs. So again, we bend the knees, arms come down, and then we grip, we pull up. So the legs are firmly rooted down, but we pull right up and pull them up right up here. So again, just bending the knees, sticking the bottom back, grab hold as if you're pulling your tights up all the way up. And then once more. So we slowly start just to bend down. We feel that pulling up, easing right up. Good, and then release the hands. So we're pulling up towards the hips, taking the feet out a little bit wider. We can start then just to get the hips just to move, going in an infinity symbol. So that's like a figure of 8, but sideways on. So we're just easing the hips out, one side and then the other side. One side and then the other side. So making nice big circles with the hips. And just explore with that. See how far we can go over. See how big those circles can be. And then once we get the hang of that, then we change direction. We're going back the other way. Now, make the movements as big as you can, but make sure that you're leading with your hips. There's a tendency kind of like we'll muscle in with the shoulders. So just let the hips do the talking. So going over from side to side. Then again, change direction. I'm not sure whether I did change direction. So going over. And again, it's the hips which are leading. Okay, and then softly come back to the center. Bring your feet back in. Now bending the knees again. So I'm going to stand sideways on just to show. So we're going to bend the knees, bottom sticking back, and then pulling up. And when we get almost up, we're just going to edge the hips forward. So again, leading with the hips. So not with so much of the chest. So if we bend the knees, hands coming down, press down through the feet, work it through the thighs, and then edging those hips forward. And then back down again. And we're pulling up, edging the hips forward. And once more, so we come down, and then easing all the way up, edging the hips forward. Okay, and just soften there. Holding on to the hips. So we're going to have the fingers round, so the fingers are at the front, little fingers in towards that crease. Now again, on here, the tilting of the pelvis. We're going to tilt forward and tilt back. Tilt forward and tilt back. Tilt forward and tilt back. Now aim to keep this part of the body still, so it is just on the lower part and the pelvis moving, and that will start to work into the lower back. So keeping the chest fairly still. Okay, and once we start to get that movement, then again we bring the chest into it. So ease forward, ease back, ease forward, ease back, ease forward, ease back. Hands can just be down by your side, and then you'll see that the arms and the shoulders will start to move with it. So again, like we did with the chair, we can start. So if I come that way around, so as we're coming forward and back, then my shoulders will internally rotate and then externally rotate. So internally rotate, externally rotate. So make sure that we're using the spine as well to come forward and back. Turn back again. Okay, so now that we have the hang of that movement, then we're going to start just to ease it back down again. So we soften. Hands go back onto the hips, and this time we're just going to move a little bit more through the rib cage. So pop the chest forward, then to the side, pull it back, over to the other side. So forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. And then we can start just to smooth it off and just rounding it out. So we're just getting the rib cage and the chest starting to move. So aim to keep it as smooth as you can. But if it's not, don't worry too much about it. And then over to the other side. So we're forward, we're back, we're forward, we're back, we're forward, and we're back. We'll always have one side which is a little bit easier to go to. And then we come back into that center again. Okay, so now that we've got that little bit of movement going, again, we're going to just take it back into the legs. So we can bend the legs, feel that pulling up. And bend the legs, and then again, pulling up. And then once more, so bend the legs, and then pull up, pull those tights right up. Take the feet out slightly wider, hands onto the hips. Go back into your figure of 8. So figure of 8 sideways on, your infinity symbol is what I mean. Okay, so once we've got there, we've been round a few times, then again we can change direction, then we're leading still with the hips. Then we come back into that stillness, we move the chest round. We move it back in the opposite direction. We'll come back to that point of stillness. Feet come in a little bit closer together. And then again, we think of the chest moving forward and then back. So like a cat stretch, like what we've done sitting down. Again, notice the shoulders. So we're going to really start to over-exaggerate that movement now with the shoulders. So then we start to let the arms lift up a little bit more. So we can start just to roll in, to roll out, to roll in, to roll out. So each time my chest is starting to move forward or it's pulling back. So we start to make these movements a little bit bigger with the arms. So you can be as flamboyant as you like with it. So we start to really move, bringing the arms up and bringing them down, crossing the arms over each time. Get right through to the fingertips. So we can bend the knees, bring it right down, bring it right back up again. Rolling in and rolling out. And rolling in and rolling out. So we're just going to have one more. And then we come back to upright. Again, now just keep the arms going. So rolling in, rolling out. Rolling in and rolling out. Okay, now keep the arms out to the side. So nice floaty arms. That's it. So if you're just moving them, get the fingers to move. And then 10, so we've got one palm up, one palm down. And we're just going to start just to change over. Now, as we change over, we can get the hips moving from side to side. So making sure that we still feel in tune with our body and we're still in tune with the breath. So notice maybe as you're moving one way, you'll feel the breathing and how it helps the body to be able to release into different holding patterns. Okay, just a couple more times. And then we come back, so the palms are facing up, bringing the arms up over the head and just drawing the hands down. Bring your feet in a little bit closer together. So just take a moment here. Okay, bringing the hands down. Take your feet out about a little bit wider than your hips. So we're going to bend the knees and slowly start to come all the way down towards the floor. Obviously, you don't have to touch the floor. If that feels a little bit much, don't go all the way down. So we're coming down and then slowly start to roll back up again. When we come up, we take the arms up over the head and open up with the fingers. And then curling back in and coming back down again. Again, push down through the feet, slowly start to curl and come up, opening up, and then back down again. And then the last time, so slowly coming up, opening up, and then bring it back in, palms come together. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. Take a breath. And release the hands down. Okay, take your feet out a little bit wider than your hips again. Turn the toes out slightly. We're going to start to make a little bit of a twist. So easing around, so keep the knees nice and soft and just easing around from side to side. Now, as we go around, you'll feel that one foot will start to lift as the other foot starts to move round. So if you start to move the feet as well, it takes less strain on the other joints because you're working that twist, moving around, getting right into these myofascial lines. Now, if the foot was firmly rooted down onto the floor, you'd find that you'd end up, after a little while, getting knee problems and maybe hip problems. So allow that swing through to happen as you start to twist. So if you can imagine like a golfer's swing when they're going, the one foot will lift and go back. Okay, now explore a little bit more with that movement. So just easing around and just moving through space. You can bend your knees as you're going from side to side or move it round. And then coming back towards the center again. Okay, have a little wriggle out in the shoulders. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. Let's get right in between those shoulder blades. Keep the arms moving, keep them wriggling around. So I think when we're sat, maybe on a night time when you're sat just on the sofa for too long, the shape of that sofa, we tend to kind of mold to it. And it doesn't take any time at all before the body takes on that form. It becomes sticky and starts to develop that sofa shape. So we just need to kind of ease out of that. So that's a little shake. And then get the feet to shake and the wrists. And then onto the other one. And shaking out a little bit more. So even as we're doing this, we're starting to work onto our balance. So working onto one foot and onto the other side. Okay, a nice big shake out the whole of the body. Now shake the arms up in the air. And then shake them back behind you. and come back up and just settling down there. Okay, good. So we should feel a little bit more alive now. Now we are going to come down onto the floor so we can start just to focus on getting a little bit more of movement going on. Now, if you take a block or a cushion, just you can place that at one end of your mat, and we can be using that just really as a pillow. So I'm going to turn so our face a little bit more that way around, I think. So, probably be better if it goes that way around then. That's it. Okay, so just starting off, just lying down, just on your backs. And you're having the block just underneath the head. So if you push your feet down into the floor, so we lift up and we just clear that space. So I feel as if the bottom is pushing further away and then placing it back down onto the floor. Feet are a little bit wider than the hips, arms are out to the sides. Now you can always have your arms in more like a cactus position. So it would be with the elbows bent and arms there or out to the side, depending on how much room you've got. Just let the legs just go over to one side. Notice how that feels. So remember, the legs don't have to come to the floor. Just keep the movement just wherever you can take that to. And then easing over to the other side. Again, notice how it feels. So we're not holding tight. We're just aiming to kind of keep that moving. So just easing over from side to side. Now notice the difference of whether you're actually making that movement happen, as in putting your legs at a particular place. So, or whether you can override that and just let the body move in quite a freeing way, just to be able to kind of go wherever the legs are able to go. Now, there's a difference. So the difference is kind of placing the legs there, putting them down, you will be there. Or can we just free that off and just let the legs go over? And just being content with where the legs are at. And just again, just easing over and back over. And coming back to the center. Now I'm going to turn over just onto my left-hand side. So when I come over onto my left-hand side, it is to be able to work the right side of the body more. So my head is on the block like a pillow. My hand is going to go onto that top hip. It's just going to slide that hip and that leg forward a little bit. Now, it only needs to come over just an inch or so, just over that lower leg. So we can use the hand just to encourage that leg just to slide forward. It doesn't, as I say, it doesn't have to be a very big movement, just a nice soft movement, just where it's comfortable going to. Now again, with the arm like we did earlier, so at the moment I'm using my hand just onto the leg. And then I'm just going to let that hand slip off, and as the leg moves forward, take my arm forward and then bring it back. And then as the leg goes forward, take my arm forward and bring it back. So it's moving forward, it's moving back. It's moving forward, it's moving back. Just a couple more, just nice easy movements. And it just starts to just get us ready for the next stage. So as we take that leg forward, the hand is coming down, and then it's just going to go over the head and release all the way around. That leg is then going to go forward again as we bring the hand forward, and then it starts to come all the way back, opening up through the shoulder. So it goes forward, and then the hand stays as low down to the floor as you can as we uncurl. So when I'm in this open stage, I have both inner arms and palms facing up towards the ceiling. And we feel it opening up through the right side of the body. Bringing that hand across, so the hip is going to move forward slightly. Arm is going to reach ahead, it's going to circle round. And then coming back. So we're going to do one more. So it starts to slide forward and then comes back. Now, if we just keep the arms there just for a moment, the arms nicely stretched out. Just take a few breaths, just notice how it feels. Notice whether it is you that's holding on to those bits of tension. So when I say you, I mean just kind of like you yourself, or is it your mind that's stopping you from taking that further? We can often feel just things that are going on in our minds, in our own minds, that kind of stop us going further. If there has been kind of some form of injury there, then we start to kind of have that programmed thought process of that this might hurt. But if we just take it nice and easy and just going with it just to see, we're never going to know whether we're able just to kind of take it that little bit further, whether our own bodies will allow us to go that bit further. Okay, and then just bringing that arm back. So the hand's going to go back onto that leg again. Now I'm going to take the hand this time, take it over the head. It's going to go to the head towards that lower ear. We bring and we roll the arm in, and then we open up and we're taking that elbow back. And again, we roll in, and then we open up. So when we feel the opening up, we want to feel it through the sides of the body. We want to feel it through here. This bit moving, this bit moving, this bit moving, this bit moving, this bit, this bit, this bit. And then the shoulder and the elbow start to come down lower. It's not just a case of kind of taking that elbow back. So rolling back in, we just do one more. So slowly start to take that arm over. So again, remember, right from the hip, we're going to start just to move it back, 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 and just slowly back. And then bring it back in. And we can just release the arm down and come over just so you're lying down on your back. So keep the legs in a crook knee position, taking a few breaths. When we feel the body has started to equalize, so after we've been laid on one side, we end up with more lung function happening on one side than the other. So we just lay on our backs just to help equalize. Now you can roll over then to do the other side. So I'm just going to turn myself and move it over this way, just so you still are able to see me okay. So my head is down onto the block and my knees are now bent. So one hand is on top of the hip. So I'm just going to slowly start to edge that hip forward and then bring it back. Edging the hip forward and bringing it back. Edge the hip forward and bringing it back. And so notice that the knee is just clearing over that lower knee. Doesn't have to go very far. We're just keeping a nice swaying action. So this should be, or is, just a general movement of being able to move the pelvis for us to be able to walk. So we should be able to have kind of some range on this. If it does feel a little bit stiff as you're doing this, then it's maybe going to be beneficial if you do it a few more times. Now I can start to let that arm come forward and then easing back. And then as the hip goes forward, the arms comes forward and then it goes back. So the arm goes forward as the hip goes forward and then it starts to move back. So again, keep it nice and soft. So we're not really focusing on kind of getting anywhere with it. All we're doing is kind of working it into keeping that range of motion there. So we're not wanting to really feel so much as that we're trying to do or trying to progress, because that gives kind of an end goal or a challenge to it. We just want to kind of bring back that freedom of movement. Now this time we're just going to take that arm up and over, and then it starts to bring the hand along the floor, and we open up in the shoulders as we take the arms around. And then it's coming back. So remember, that leg can edge forward, that hand comes forward, the arm goes onto the floor behind if we can. Again, don't worry about it too much if it doesn't touch the floor. And if you feel that this is a little bit too much, just work with one of the other stages. So there's a lovely movement for working through the side of the body. Moves into that twist, so it gives a nice spinal twist. Also helping just with the range of mobility in the shoulder, in the front part of the chest, the front top part, sorry, of the chest. And if we can keep the chest nice and open, then that's going to just help with the breathing. Just to being able to get a nice full range, a full breath. Okay, so we're going to work one more there. And one more, because hopefully it was about the same amount as the other side. I'm terrible, and I always just instantly forget how many that we've done. Okay, so we're at that side again, and then we're just going to take the hand now, so we can just bring it up and take it over the head. So it's going to go to that lower ear. We start to roll in, and then start to take back. So remember, the movement happens through the waist, through the rib cage, through the chest, a bit more through the chest, up into the armpit skin, and then easing back. Again, don't feel as if that arm has to come down to the floor. Just work it where it feels comfortable to go to. The more that you end up doing, the more you'll start to be able to get that range. So just easing in as you come in, maybe that top hip is going to slide forward over the lower leg. And then we open up, remember, it's movement through your waist, then through the rib cage, then through the chest, through the armpit skin. And just keeping going, just keeping moving. Just noticing just how it feels. So you can always do this just with your eyes closed. Eyes closed is going to take you more into that being mode. And the eyes are open. It's like almost being kind of on alert, looking out and trying to bring in every single kind of little thing that's happening, trying to analyze it, over processing. So just see if we can quieten down the mind and just bring it just back to how we actually feel and how your body is moving. And then on this one, just holding there. And then let that arm come back down. And we can start to bring ourselves back just to lying down on your back. Bring your hands onto your belly. Keep your legs in a crooked knee position. Now you can take your feet out slightly wider than your hips, but just let the knees just roll in towards each other. Soft, smooth breath. And just noticing where you actually feel that breath. Is it into the belly? Into the rib cage? We're able to feel that gentle rise and fall. Even if you keep one hand onto your belly, one hand onto the chest. And then bring the hands back down again towards the belly. Bring your feet so the legs are in a, again, crook knee position, but the knees are pretty level to each other. Now, if you can, lose the block from behind the head. Obviously, if you feel sick without that anything there behind the head, if the head is going back, then just place your block back there or your cushion back there again. So we're going to keep the chin in towards the chest, hands just onto the belly. So take again, just tuning in. So just notice each time you inhale and feel the belly just gently start to expand. As you exhale, just allowing the belly just to sink back. So we're inhaling, the belly is expanding. And exhaling, the belly just sinking back. Again, if you can, just close the eyes. Okay. So after the next time that the belly has started to sink back towards the spine, just keeping a slight tone across the belly there. And just breathing as normal, just open the eyes. Press down again through the feet, lift the hips. Push the bottom away a little bit more and placing the back down. Draw the legs in towards the chest. And just squeeze in. Take a little rock over from side to side. Now you can either roll over to the right side and bring yourselves up, or you can place the hands underneath the bottom and bring yourselves back up again, just to sit in. Now, you can either use the sofa on this next one, or you can use, like I've got a puffy here, so I'm going to be using that one. So all I'm going to do is take myself over just to the edge of the puffy. So again, even if you think about that height might be the height of your sofa. So just if you lay yourselves back down again, so get your bottom quite close to the edge of the sofa or the puffy. So you're right in towards it, and then we can place the feet just onto that edge, arms down by the sides. So we're going to keep the chin in towards the chest. And just work it, and you can work this to whatever degree you feel is right for you. So we press down and we draw the belly back. We almost have that tip of the pelvis as we push down and we lift up. And slowly start to roll it back down again. So only work it as far as feels comfortable and right for you. Now, obviously, if you've got any eye problems like glaucoma or any serious neck or ear problems, then give this one a miss. So you can just rest, maybe just with the legs, just resting up onto the sofa. If you feel you're okay, that's fine. Maybe you're just going to watch if the blood pressure is a little bit high as well, then don't come up too high. But there's nothing wrong with just getting that little bit of movement going. It gives a nice massage along the back. So if you turn so the palms are facing up and inner arms facing up, it's going to stop you just pushing down through your hands and overworking too much in the shoulders. So let the legs do the work. So we push down. We slowly start just to roll, to come up. Again, to what you feel is a comfortable height. And then rolling back down again. So feel as if there's each vertebra one at a time, peeling up off the floor and then coming back down again. One vertebra, so one segment of the spine, just at a time. Slowly rolling up and slowly rolling back down again. Okay, we'll do one more. So we keep the chin in all times, in just towards the chest. And that's going to keep the length on the cervical spine. So when you're keeping your neck nice and long, nice and safe. If you notice when I was lifting up, no wriggling around. So all you're going to do is just push through the feet to get that little bit of a lift, and then let the feet just be the stabilizers as you come back down. Now, once you're back down again, you can just give a little push just to get the bottom lifted. Again, push the bottom away. Draw the knees back in again towards the chest. So taking hold, even if you're holding just onto here with the legs separate, or you're hanging onto your leggings to pull the legs in, then that's fine. So just kind of holding in whatever feels right for you. So it gives that little bit of compression just across the belly. Take a little rock again over from side to side. So nice for a little massage out along the back, and then releasing any muscular tension, especially in the lower back. Okay, roll over to the right side, and again, just bring yourself up. So we're just going to come up to sitting. Okay, so once we're up to sitting, if you've got your block handy or a cushion, grab hold of that and just placing it underneath your bottom. So sitting up is just going to help, again, just to lengthen the spine. Now, again, we're going to work our twist and do the right side first. So we're going to take our left leg and lift that leg up. We're going to grab hold, sit tall, and then take the crook of that right elbow just onto the leg. So it goes onto the left leg. Take your left arm right up and back behind you. And we can turn and we can look back over that left shoulder. Now the leg that you've left behind is important. So keep that leg as strong as you can, as straight as you can, with the toes pointing up. Now making sure that you'll feel a little bit of compression going across the belly as that arm is hooked over. So that's almost kind of giving an extra little bit of a wring out and a squeeze out those internal organs. Now we use the breath here. So making sure that you're inhaling and you're lifting, you're exhaling, and we're just working into that little bit of a twist. And notice if you go too far with it and too much, that your body will become rigid. It won't be able to go anywhere else. So just maybe ease off a little bit and feel with each breath that you can just encourage a tiny bit of a little twist. And that way the body is going to stay more calm, relaxed. It's going to go with you a lot more. It's going to enjoy that twist. And then slowly keeping the height, coming back to where you started and placing that leg down. So left leg is stretching out, so we're going to bring that right leg up now and grabbing hold. So we have hold, we're going to take the crook of the left elbow and I'm going to hook that round onto the leg. We're going to take that right arm, it's going to go right back behind you and pressing down. So we turn and we look back. Again, remember the leg that you've left behind. That wants to be a straight leg with the heel pushing away and the toes up. We sit nice and tall, and we're holding on to that leg, and we're working through the breath to enable us to get into a little bit of a twist. Keeping the body soft, keeping it pliable. Okay, and then inhale, lift, exhale as you come back round. And then slowly start to straighten out through the legs. Okay, we're going to have one more twist. So we're going to keep the legs straight. So notice when I'm looking at you this time, I'm doing twists, I'm back to just, it gets very confusing if you mirror imaging when you're twisting. So if I say right, it is your right. If I say left, it's your left. Okay, so we're just going to go now just again to that to our left hand side. So I'm going to take my right hand across just onto the left leg. And the hand is just resting there, it's like a stabilizer. My left hand is going back behind me. I'm pressing down into the floor behind and just turning and looking back. So really just as if you were kind of looking back, if you were sat in a car looking back over your shoulder. Notice where you feel the twist. Now notice if the body becomes rigid anywhere. So keep it so it is a little bit pliable. And then inhale, lift, exhale as you come back round, keep the height. Over to the other side. So hand going round, take one hand back, push it down, keep the lift, turning and looking back. Again, feel that ringing out through the midsection of the body. And inhale, exhale as we come back round. Okay, let the feet just relax. Maybe just give them a little bit of a shake out. Give the arms a little bit of a shake out. The head, just go a little bit from side to side. Okay. Now I'm just going to get you now just to lie yourself down on your back. So now this is for our Shavasana. So if you prefer, if you don't want to come down onto the floor, then take yourself, if your sofa is fairly firm, then you can always kind of, if it's a little bit too much trouble kind of getting down onto the floor and then having to get back up again, then take yourself onto the sofa. But if your sofa is a little bit like a bed and you've got no support at all, then take yourself down on the floor instead. Okay, so once you're down on the floor or on your sofa, just pad yourself out with as much as you need, kind of like if you don't want any pressure on the back. So you can always end up, if you have your 2 blocks, you can have them kind of underneath the legs. So this is going to take the pressure off the back. And you can just rest there. Now, arms can either have a little bit of space with space underneath the arm, or you can just fold the hands in and have the hands just resting just onto the belly. Now have a couple of little wriggle arounds just so you feel as if you're a little bit more connected down to the ground. You feel a little bit more settled. Again, just tuning in to your breathing. Tune into how the body feels. Fully commit to the breath. Allow the body to be the breath. So as you're inhaling, feel the whole of the body inhaling. The whole of the body pauses. The whole of the body exhales. And again, the whole of the body takes that pause. So fully committing to the breath. So if we can, we're going to tune into the breathing. We can start to get a time frame on the breath. So maybe tuning in for the count of 4 as you inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause for 4, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause for 4, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Pause for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. And let the inhalation start again. So just making slightly more aware that your exhalation is slightly longer than the inhalation. This is going to take you to a deeper level of relaxation. So I'm now just going to name some parts around the body, and all you need to do is just take the focus of the breath to those areas. Forehead, the jaw, the throat, the heart center, center of the chest, the solar plexus, the lower part of the belly, the base of the spine, the whole of the body. The whole of the body. The whole of the body. So just being aware now just of where you are and your surroundings. Notice how you feel. Open your ears to any sounds. Not attaching to what the sounds are, but just hear any sounds. Swallow a couple of times, just bring back your sense of taste. And then just moving the thumbs maybe over the fingers, or the fingers over the floor or over your clothes. Just being aware of that sense of touch. If we can, just keep the eyes closed for a little bit longer. Just gently start to move with the fingers, the hands, toes, the feet, moving the arms and the legs. And take a good stretch. So when we stretch out, movement is called pandiculation. It's the stretch what animals do when they start to wake up or they start to move. And we start to maybe taking the arms out as if going into a big yawn and a stretch. So just easing out the chest so that limbs might feel rigid. Just a full stretch out, full body stretch. The arms, the legs, head might go over to one side. It can be accompanied by a sigh out or like a yaw, like oh, almost like a kind of I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm here. You can open your eyes. You've taken that good stretch, just bringing yourself up to sitting. Just joining me with the palms together. And then just for a moment, just closing the eyes again. Just bringing your thoughts back. The intention which was set at the beginning. Intention of creating time for yourself and space for yourself. Knowing how good that feels when that happens. And then taking the hands up over the crown. Slowly start to draw the hands down past the Ajna chakra, intuitive center. Vishuddha, we speak our truth and listen well. Anahata, center for love and compassion. Manipura, which gives us our will and our drive. Svadhisthana, for creating new change. Muladhara, for strength and our stability. And just bringing the hands back to the Anahata chakra. So although your practice today was rightly so for yourself, you'll reap the benefits from that. Just know that the energy that you created from your practice, the energy you created, just bring to mind someone you feel could do the little bit of help right now, and then dedicate that part of your practice to them. And softly just open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, and I shall see you again. So stay safe and stay well.